can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost in the moment. All I want is for you to come back. Now I'm caught in the middle of life, and I need.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Red Pill Diaries. This is our first live edition of the new year. I want to take the time out to say Happy New Year. I hope everybody's having a blessed, wonderful, and a productive new year. As always, I'd like to thank you all for joining me on the most powerful platform for truth, bar none, on God's green earth. This is your platform for education, elevation, and edification. This is the Red Pill Diaries, and I'm your host, your brother, and your friend, Rashid. There's so much going on. I was on an involuntary, hint, hint, blocked, vacation from streaming. And so now I'm off that hint, hint vacation, and I can stream now. So I want to thank you all for joining me and giving me your time. Shout out to everybody who's joining me. We got to talk about some things because there's a lot of things to talk about, okay? And there's a lot in the news. Did not call it when I was telling you guys on the premium stream the first part of the year because I was still able to do a premium stream. Then I tell you that the U.S. was desperate and they were going to go into Venezuela. Then I tell you guys that the U.S. is that Trump understands now that the situation has become so dire for the American empire that rationality, soundness of thinking, and policy making is no longer viable for the American empire. Did I tell you that? And that the mask would come off? And I noticed this, and this is not to pat myself on the back, but if you look at all of the major channels and you look at the guests that they're having, if you look and you listen to them, they are coming to the grips and coming to terms with things that I've said over the weeks, months, and years. That's amazing, right? That this little old channel predicted a lot of this stuff before any of the big channels or their guests said anything. And I was telling you guys, the situation, see, what most people don't understand is this, that we're living in the, not just the decline of a country. We're not just the fall of America. We're not just living in that. Because if that was just it, then we would not be on the precipice or on the threshold of nuclear war or global war. What you have to put in your head is this, that the entire world, led by the US, the entire global structure is collapsing and dying. So we're living in a change of worlds. This is the thing I'm trying to get to you, to get you to understand, that nobody talks about. Because when they talk to you, they don't level with you the way that they should level with you. Okay? And by the way, I want to say this before we go further. You got to join us back here in about 4 hours after the show, about 5 hours after the show. Carl Czar will be on the platform. We're going to be doing a double take today. This show, then we'll have Carl Czar on the show at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. And then you got to join us Monday. We got a double hitter Monday with Bart Sabriel talking about NASA and if NASA faked the moon landing. And an hour right after that, 30 minutes after that show ends, we'll have Colonel Larry Wilkerson on the platform. So you guys got to check this out. I told you I had a lot of surprises coming, and I got more than that coming. We got Gregory Manarino coming up. We got, I'm going to save some of the surprises. We got a lot of stuff for you guys, okay? But listen, let's go back to this about the collapse of a world. See, when you build a house or you build a building, you have what they call weight-bearing structures, okay? Weight-bearing structures. What it does is distributes the weight differently across the platform, and it takes the load of the weight, the heaviest part of the weight, onto itself, because it's a structure built to maintain the stability of the house. But if the load-bearing structure or the weight-bearing structure has fissures, cracks, or is unstable, when they put a condemned sign on it, or they take the whole house down because it is unsound and unstable for anybody to live in or to go in, because at any moment it could collapse down and kill all of the inhabitants of that structure, right? Well, when we look at the situation in the global financial architecture, the political architecture, the military architecture, the industrial architecture, and the scientific architecture, America for nearly a century had been the load-bearing structure in what they deemed as the rules-based international order. Economically, she's unviable right now because of the unheard of debt. When we look at the scientific part of this, China has surpassed the United States. If you look at mostly all of the patents that are coming out for research and development comes out of China. So China has surpassed her in technological ingenuity. When we look at the military, China is quickly catching up, and in most cases has surpassed the United States. She's the number one army. She's the number one navy. And I think this year or next year, she'll be the number one Air Force, have the largest amount of fifth generation warplanes, or have made it even with the United States. Desperation is setting in. All right. Then when we look at the manufacturing, U.S. and manufacturing is non-existent. It's a non-existent. All right. So now that means that the weight-bearing wall or the weight-bearing pillar of the so-called rules-based order is structurally unsound. And if this is the case, and it is, guess what that means? The whole rules-based order, the house of cards, is condemned and it must fall. And that is what we're looking at in real time. A lot of people can't process that because for so long the Western world has dominated the narrative of what things are and what things should be and what things were. You know how they say victor, the spoils go to the victor? Well, the Western world, whether it was the United States or Britain before that, or Portugal or France or whatever, whoever ruled at that time, they were able to give their narrative of history. They were able to give their narrative of things that are and things that will be. But when the power slips away from them, they can't do that anymore. This is what is driving these irrational, unsound, insane policies. Because they've dominated so long, and they've dominated all of the instruments and levels of power internationally so long that in their minds, they cannot comprehend or conceive of anybody or any nation being in their position or above them. That's why the U.S. stated policy is to not allow any nation or combination of nations to rise to near peer or even greater position than them. This is their stated policy. This is when you understand the stated policy of the United States, not what you believe and what you think, but the stated policy. These are in think tanks. These are in the national security discussion. These are policies that you see that are tangible, that are in action right now. Not this old, we're for freedom, justice, we're for democracy and humanitarianism and human rights. That's just chatter. But when you look at the actions and you go into the policy directives, you understand the real underlying policies and moves and thoughts of the policymakers. While they're talking about that the United States doesn't need to dominate, what does all of the presidents, all of the defense war secretaries, and all of the administration people say? That America must lead. Why? Why must you lead? As I said before on one show or multiple shows, if we were to treat America as a CEO and the global world order as a corporation, and one were to look around and see the state of its corporation, the CEO would be fired immediately. Look at what's going on: war, destabilization, the throwing out of all kinds of norms and international rules or whatever, because you are butthurt. It is not profit, because corporations run off profit. America is not looking to enrich the world. It is looking to enrich itself so that it can dominate the world. If this is the case, the CEO would be removed immediately from the corporation, right? If it showed itself to be inept, if the CEO of a corporation that is supposed to bring profit and goodwill to its bond or shareholders is acting irrational, unsound, and is killing profits, what would happen? They would immediately fire him, right? Why don't we look at that when it comes to America, when it comes to the Western world? What I'm trying to do is get you into rational thinking, to get out of your feelings for a minute and to look at this thing as it is. The main thing one should understand is the time, okay? And if you understand time, no matter what I'm talking about the time, because time is a measurement of motion, as I often tell you. From one point to the other point, we measure how much time or how much movement it takes to go from here to here. And then you have it here. So when we look at history as a guide, all empires fall, right? Especially arrogant empires, right? And if we look at history as a guide, these empires that have fallen did not reconstitute themselves because they had no economic, military, scientific, industrial base or ingenuity to do it, right? Because as the empire falls, everybody scrambles like rats trying to get off the sinking ship to preserve themselves and to try to preserve what little wealth they have after stealing it from the masses. So when we look at the talk, the discussion of what is going on all of the platforms, they will continue to sell you a lie. And I think they believe it. I truly believe that in their mind, they cannot see past American dominance. They cannot see past Western dominance. They throw away science, they throw away mathematics, they throw away history when it comes to this. And what I'm talking about is when it comes to America and the Western world. America will be one of many poles of power. How in the hell is that even possible? Let's be rational for a minute, okay? We understand that the reason that America is doing what she's doing is to go after the BRICS, to go after China mainly. She wanted to weaken Russia, which she's done a little bit, so that she can then have Russia preoccupied while she really goes after Iran and China. And so she's using these moves from the Panama Canal to threatening Mexico, to threatening Colombia, to threatening and going into Venezuela and kidnapping the president of Venezuela. The script was already written when they did it with Hugo Chavez. Remember, I told you this is nothing new. The United States did this when they did it to Haiti. John Aristide. Because he wanted to use the wealth and the mineral, because they found a whole wealth of untapped oil and gas off the coast of Haiti. This is why you see all this stuff going on with Haiti. They found huge amounts of gold and minerals all across Haiti and even in the waters off Haiti. And when Aristide, when the West did a survey, and when they found out that this was the case, they wanted to put in their corporations to get most of the profits. And Aristide said, put the brakes on that. Look at the condition of my people. I want to take ownership of this. We'll invite all corporations, especially West. We'll even give Western corporations preferential treatment. But they cannot hold the majority stake in this stuff because my country is in bad shape because of colonialism. So what I want to do is invest in education, healthcare. I want to give the people a share of the mineral wealth that we tapped. The United States, oh, no, 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 no. Who do you think you are? Man, do you know we'll remove you? So they threatening. They sent people to bribe Aristide. He was not bribable. So when that took place, they even tried to assassinate him a couple of times. They tried to overthrow him, but his popularity was so great in Haiti that the United States was then forced to do what? Kidnap him. What did they do with Hugo Chavez? Huh? What did they do with Maduro? Huh? This is written in the Bible of imperialism. I hope you all are getting this stuff. See, back to what I was saying. I have to lay out points for you guys, points of references, because we're dealing with time. All right? And as they often say, history best rewards those who research it. So now, when we look at the pundits, the alternative and the main media shows, they often talk about multipolarity. And they say America will be one of many poles of power, right? And this sounds good. But then my mind starts to think and churn, how is that possible? How can America buck history? How can she buck science? How can she buck mathematics? Huh? What I mean by that is, listen, America is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. If other empires fail and never reconstituted for just a small fraction of what she's done, how in the hell will she be able to maintain as a pole of power? If she no longer has the ingenuity and the competitiveness that she had when she had the manufacturing ability that the whole world marveled at. If she no longer has that, how can she maintain her position? And people say, well, America's rich with oil and gas and gold and all of this other stuff. Yeah, but it costs money to extract money that she no longer has. Why is nobody talking about these things? I'm asking. Because in their mind, they don't realize that they are American supremacists too. They are Western supremacists too. Because they somehow bought into the propaganda that has been spread for the longest. If other nations, if other countries, if other republics, if other empires have fallen because of just a fraction of the political chaos, a fraction of the death of manufacturing, just a fraction of the collapse in trade, a fraction of the inflation, and the depth of this money, plus the debt. How in the world is it possible for America to buck that trend when you can put all of the empires and nations together in history, and America still has more debt than all of them combined? How is that even possible for her to remain as a viable pole of power? Huh? Talk to me. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm not the spoon, the fork, or the butter knife either. This is what I'm trying to bring to the forefront of thought, to the conversation here. And how can she maintain herself if the basis of the universe, of science, says you receive what you put out? You might not get it in your lifetime, but it'll be passed down in your children's or your children's children's or your children's 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 lifetime. If this is the case, if science tells us that every action receives an equal or greater reaction, look at all of the hell that the Western world has put the world through. Not just the world. Look at the hell that it's putting its own citizens through. Look at even right now, with America in this position, geopolitically, industrially, manufacturing wise, scientifically, and militarily and economically. She has yet to do right by others. Everybody continues to talk about how Trump is out of pocket. Where's your girl, Tulsi Gabbard? Where's Tulsi at? Huh? For all of you who had hope on Tulsi, and I kept telling you she's a Trojan horse. Why didn't she say anything about the kidnapping, the illegality of kidnapping a sitting president? She's the head of the of all intelligence agencies. Surely she would have had the lawyers look over these things. She hasn't uttered a word because she's in bed with this stuff. See, they use her as a ruse. They trot her out because she's appealing to the eye to some people, and because some people still have faith that she will buck up against the trend with Trump. We find out that Tulsi is just a cog in the engine of American empire. You understand me? Shout out everybody in the chat. Shout out. I'm chopping it up. Shout out to let me see. JWC. I'm messing up. JWC. Shout out to Faye Lou in the building. Shout out my girl Shelly is in the building. Not Works is in the building. W. Gilchrist in the building. Shout out everybody. Joel Bradford is in the building. Let me go to Cheese Puff is in the building. And I'm just when it stopped jumping, I'll pull up something else, okay? It's jumping real quick. But I want you to think about these things, what I'm saying. Faye Lou says this right here. I had high hopes for her. I was fooled. She was a good actress. I bought her performance. I kept telling everybody. Because what you don't understand is, listen, Trump, his administration is full of billionaires and Zionists. Tulsi is a Zionist. She is an extreme Hindu who hates Islam, who hates Muslims. Most people don't even realize that. She even has some extreme views that she does not talk about anymore. She goes with this old sad story. Well, she'll come out and say one thing, and if Trump contradicts her, she'll come right back out. No, she's supposed to be the head of the intelligence agencies, and when Trump says she's wrong, she's supposed to stand up to him and say, hey, if all of the agencies report to me, where are you getting your information from? Huh? No, I'm not wrong. You're wrong. She's supposed to be a check in the administration, but you know what? He filled him with who he knew would stand before him. So let me get to some real quick since we're talking about Tulsi. Let me pull up something for you guys real quick, okay? And this shows you why Trump is like this and why did he put Tulsi in the administration. All right. Even when it comes to Kennedy, he is pro-Israeli, quote unquote, because he said it. All right. To get to these positions, you have to bow. You have to bow and kiss the ring. All right. So listen to this part right here. And this is not AI. This is a little clip. I want you to just listen to this, okay? All right.
Years ago, I was up here, and I said, this is our first Jewish president. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. So we thank you for everything.
There are 474 members in the White House, and of that 474, there's 155 Jewish members. So that means there's 33% of Jewish members in the White House, but only 2% of Jewish people in America. So how do you think something like that could happen? Here's an idea.
I was offered $20 million to withdraw from the senatorial race and run against my friend Rashida Tlaib. The pro-Israel lobby will go to any length to remove anybody from the U.S. Congress that has any opposition to their agenda and their total, unequivocal support for Israel, good, bad, or indifferent. I said, this is our first Jewish president. You know, he's the first Jewish president to serve two non-consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
Fuck you lying. Why you always lying? Oh my God.
So now, if you just look at that in itself, it's not America first. It's Zionism first. And that's why he loaded his cabinet. A lot of people kept giving him a way out. And I kept telling you, listen, you don't get to this position unless you bow and kiss the ring. I told you that with Obama. I told you that with Biden. Told you that before that. And I kept telling everybody, even before Trump was first selected the first time. You have to bow and kiss the ring. And people kept saying, well, other people are blocking him. What did George Bush say? The buck stops with him, right? What does Trump say? I call the shots, right? Well, if he calls the shots and he's the shot caller, shouldn't the weight of those shots that he called be put upon his shoulders? Huh? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Informed people want to know what is going on. So let me go. Let me go to Fayu. He says, let's see. Well, I don't think it is a Jew thing. It is ultimately a greed thing. The U.S. system is corrupted by money and greed. Well, first of all, you're right and you're wrong at the same time, because the people who claim to be Jews are not really Jews. They converted to Judaism. They're from Khazaria, the kingdom of Khazaria, up in the Ukrainian area. That's why you have a lot of this fighting going on right now in that area. That's where they're from, Poland and all of these areas over there, like Hillary Clinton, all of these people, and they took on Judaism, all right? And they claim to be, and if you look at the bulk of the people from so-called Israel, they're not from Israel. They're from places around the world. But they are avid Zionists who believes that everybody is inferior to these Khazars, which they call themselves Jews. So this is not against Jews per se, because history tells us that the Jews are not European. That's what history tells us. But when we look at the situation, we have to be able to identify something. So if they label themselves as the Jews, then we have to be able to point at that, okay? And we can break it down for people that want to understand it, but we have to be able to point to that. And if you look at the media, who owns the media? Huh? Who has the most influence over government? Comprising 2% of the population of America. Who has the most influence over the government? Talk to me. I'm going to tell you how bad this thing is. In the Christian world, okay? I want you to listen to this good, because this affects you Christians. You can make mock of Jesus. You can make mock of Mary. You can make mock of Moses. You can make mock of Prophet Muhammad. You can make characters and all of this stuff of them, denigrating and talking down about them. But if you say anything about Jewish lies or Jewish history or misrepresentation or anything, you can go to jail in Europe. They are shutting down that stuff or criticizing That in America, as a matter of fact, they're trying to defund universities that have a protest, that have pro-Palestinian protests. How are they more sacred than God's prophets and God's anointed? This is what I'm trying to say to you guys. See, we have to have a grown-up discourse about this stuff. Regardless to what YouTube and Rumble and all of these other platforms say, we have to have a grown-up discourse about this. What makes them more sacred than the prophets of God? Huh? So, but you have to put a label on it because that's the label that they put on themselves. So you have to have a reference point. Remember, time. It's the measurement of motion between one point and the next point. So for us to understand and move to the next point, we must have a reference point. So that's why we say Jews, and we're not talking about Jews in particular. We're talking about those who masquerade as Jews. All right. So I hope I clarified that. I really hope that I clarified that for you. Shout out to Hogo 100. Again, I have to tell you these things because no one else is talking about them. They're afraid. They're afraid to alienate their base. They're afraid to lose the money that comes in. They're afraid to jeopardize their subscribership or their patrons or whatever. Man, I care two flips about that. Because the truth must be. Hold on one second. This is my sister. She took a flight home. Hold on one second. And I want to make sure she's home. Hold on. Yeah. What's up, Charlotte? Okay. All right, bye-bye. She made it back home safe. That's my oldest sister, who became the matriarch of the family after the passing of my mom last year. But anyway, she was here, and we had a good time together, and she just took a flight home, so she wanted to let me know that she made it home safe. Let's see. Let me go in the chat real quick. Lucy, I think the Jewish elites and the WASP work together to advance each other's interests. Let's see. This thing is jumping. Hold on, everybody. This thing is jumping. Hold on one second. All right. Sometimes the chat on my end jumps because I'm monitoring the YouTube, and I'm also monitoring whether it's StreamYard or Restream. I'm monitoring those, and I'm monitoring a Rumble, and sometimes my chats and stuff jump. So I apologize for that from time to time. But again, we have to be able to have grown-up discourse, because if you dance around the issues, you'll never come to a solution. And you've got to call an ace and a spade regardless. Let me tell you something. I could easily get more subscribers. I could be the happy-go-lucky guy to you guys. I can tell you what you want to hear. I can I turned down people on the platform because I didn't think that they were reputable to have on the platform. Okay. And I knew it could have boosted my numbers, even with the fiddling around that YouTube and others do with my numbers. But it was never about that with me. It's about telling the truth, because ultimately you can't run away from yourself. You have to live with you, and also you have to live with with all of the decisions you make, and more than anything else, you have to deal with the consequences of angering God. Money is not worth it. Subscribers are not worth it. Being liked and invited to all of the different parties to be rubbed on the shoulder is not worth it. I'm for freedom, justice, and equality. freedom, justice, and equality. And sometimes you're going to get butthurt from me because I'm going to tell you some things that you don't like or that you don't know. But I'm doing it out of love, not out of hate. And I always ask everybody to just put what I'm saying on a scale of facts and weigh them. And if what I'm saying goes for nothing, throw it away. But if what I'm saying makes sense scientifically, economically, politically, geopolitically, or whatever, then give it a second thought. Get out of your feelings. This is how they manipulate you, because they know that they can touch on your feelings. Do you know they have invested billions of dollars in studies of how to manipulate the masses of the people by touching on certain aspects of what makes them angry or what makes them happy? Or do you know that? So on this platform, we're trying to get you out of your feelings and get you into reality, to get you into facts. Okay? So now we can see more than anything that the American empire is declining. Not just declining, but it is collapsing upon itself. I got to put this up here. Hold on, this is a good one right here. This is from Region 9. Okay, I got to put this up here. I just saw this. Oh my God. Oh, man. If anybody knows what he's talking about, you'll be laughing too. Because that's the guy that funded Trump when Trump was doing the casinos, and when Trump was, whitewashing money and all of that stuff. That's the guy that brought Trump to prominence right here. Roy Cohen. Okay, that's the guy right there. Go look him up. All right. So it was something I saw. Greatest peace president ever. But since you brought this up right here, I want to put some on the screen. Okay. All right. Let me go back to the media real quick. All right, here we are. This is from The Daily Show. It's a little short skit, okay? It goes hand in hand with what was just on the screen about the greatest peace president ever. All right? Talking about Trump. Because remember, no new wars. As a matter of fact, I think I even had something up here. Hold on one second. On my save for you guys so that I could bring that up. I think, where is it at? I might have removed it. All right, I'll come back to it. I want to play this real quick for you guys, okay?
The reason MAGA was so high on Donald Trump was that he was the guy who wasn't going to get involved with this kind of anymore.
We do not seek war. We do not seek nation building. We do not seek regime change.
And we don't want to be the world's policeman.
We don't want to be. Those days are over now. No more American boots on the ground.
We're not afraid of boots on the ground.
Now, you see, I can't be anti-whatever because Jon Stewart is Jewish, quote unquote. So, you see how on one hand the man says one thing and does another thing? Huh? That's because they have some on him. What you're watching right now in real time is desperation and distraction. Let me go to something real quick. According to the dictionary, the word distraction means, it's a noun now. It's a noun. And it means a thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. A diversion, an interruption. All right? Extreme agitation of the mind or emotions. Hysteria, frenzy. Now, why did I bring up that definition? Is anyone talking about the Epstein files or Epstein anymore, or the trafficking of little boys and little girls, or the island, or the connection, or the logs, or whatever? Is anybody talking about that anymore? Remember, there was a time when that was prominent and it couldn't even hardly be erased off of even the mainstream news, right? But all we're talking about is Ukraine right now. All they're talking about is Venezuela. But you also don't realize that some of this stuff is organ trafficking that's going on. Little boys and little girls trafficking also that's going on. All of this stuff is connected. And it is also to distract you, or what it says, it's a diversion away from these issues. It is an interruption in the focus of people, right? It's causing a frenzy and hysteria because people are protesting because they are saying that we never voted for this with Trump. We never wanted this. But I'm going to show you just how blind some of these people are, okay? That they don't even care anymore. Now, remember, all they could talk about, and you know I don't like Bill Clinton walking, riding, jumping, skipping, hopping, rolling, or centipeding across the floor because he's a mass murderer, right? But remember when Bill Clinton was under investigation and he had the Monica Lewinsky scandal, you know, brought to you by Israel? Remember that? And they were talking about he should be removed from office and all of that stuff. Remember? Or the stuff that went on with Obama? Or Biden being removed because Biden was inappropriately caught on camera kissing or touching little kids and stuff like that in the wrong way. You know, remember all of that? But let me play something for you to show you the hypocrisy of each one of these groups because they are brainwashed into the propaganda of each party. They are what would I call personality worshipers. Cult of personality worshipers. So if it's their candidate, it's okay. That's why I don't get involved in politics, because you have to sell a part of your soul to stay on party lines. I can't do that. Can't do it. So I want you to listen to this. This is short too. Okay, but this is what they're saying right now concerning if Trump is a part of the Epstein files. Okay, and this is what the supporters are saying.
You're a Trump supporter, yes or no?
Yes, I am.
Can you say what you just said again?
I said I don't care if there's 100 14-year-old girls that come forward, not only implicate him, but is proven in a court of law. Let him be the president for all of us. Don't we want him to succeed?
Well, except for the 14-year-old girls who were trafficked. You're saying ignore their stories.
There are bigger issues in the world.
Then telling the stories of children who were trafficked and giving them their justice?
Much bigger issues in the world.
Man, I'm telling you, it's absolutely insane, right? But this is what I'm saying. You got insane leadership, and what it does, the insane leadership and the insane way of thinking is then disseminated down to the supporters. All right. And instead of being able to say, hey, I was wrong. And I meet this in a lot of people. This shows that they can't grow mentally and spiritually. All right. That you can catch a person red-handed and they will deny it constantly. You can catch a person doing something. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, you misrepresented that. You misheard. This stunts growth spiritually and mentally. As an adult, you're supposed to be able, as a matter of fact, it makes you a better person when you know that you're wrong or when you've been corrected, and then you realize, hey, I was wrong. Let me apologize. It doesn't hurt to apologize. It doesn't hurt to admit that you were wrong. What hurts and what stunts the growth is to continue on with the lie, and then in your mind to justify it. That stops progression. That stunts spiritual and mental growth. You understand? And we can see that these people are nothing but children in the theater of American and imperial politics. That's what we're watching in real time. John Jeffromsky says Venezuela. Magnificent interview yesterday by Max Blumenthal on Gray Zone with former VP, Foreign Minister Jorge Arreza. Yeah, I saw that. There was no regime change. Venezuela is united and very well. Trump's lying his boob off. Yeah. Big, beautiful Bubba. Yeah, that's cult of personality. That's what it is. So when we look at these things, we have to look at them for what they are, not what we chose or think that they should be. Reality must dawn in sometimes. And I'm telling you, if you cannot bring yourself to admit the obvious or correction, if you cannot take correction, then you stunt your own growth, your own viability, your own wisdom. You can't, man, I'm telling you, and this is a big part of American society. Nobody is wrong. It's always somebody else's fault. It's Chavez's fault. As a matter of fact, let me pull up something real quick for you guys. It's Hugo Chavez. Then it's Maduro's fault. Oh, they are tyrants. They're bad. Well, if they're tyrants, then why does the people of those nations not think that they're tyrants? Why is it that America has sound leadership and all they have is a pay for play scheme in Congress, where the corporations pay for the election of these people and the people put in the policies of the corporation? Is that not corruption? Is that not thugism? Is that not greed and corruption? Huh? That's outright thuggery, not democracy. That's corporatism, not capitalism, which both of them are one and the same. So again, let me see something real quick. Something just came up, breaking news. I'm gonna have to check that because they lie a lot. But again, why is it so hard for everybody to admit that they're wrong? Nations do it, leaders. They would rather take the world to war than to say they were wrong. And you hear the pundits and the shows say, well, America has to save face or such and such. Well, at what cost do you have to save face? At the cost of the lives of people who are poor and middle class that will be put on the battlefield because of your lie? This shows you that they are megalomaniacs, that they're willing to shed innocent people's blood to save face of a lie, which will eventually come out, because you cannot hide lies forever. The universe was not created in such a way. The Holy Quran says that the heavens and the earth was created in truth. So if they were created in truth, then the lie cannot stand very long. It may get legs for a minute, but history and science and reality will bring about something that will expose the lie as the truth shines. Huh? If God hates lies according to the Bible, and God is all truth, then how in the hell can untruth or lies prevail? So you're willing to throw away lives, because remember, you cannot reconstitute those lives that are dead to save face, your face. You need to be put in jail or worse. These people are killing. Look at the blood on these people's hands, and they go to sleep at night. All for oil or gas or for some minerals or something, or to stay in a dominant position, when the law of science tells us that everything that goes up must come down if there's gravity. And since we're here on planet Earth and we know that there's gravity, even birds soar high, but they have to come to the ground sometimes. They can't stay flying forever. But in America's mind, in Britain's mind, in the European Union's mind, we have to soar forever. And if we have to sow chaos and create war and destabilize and have color revolutions and assassinations, then the hell with it. We got to do it. Scorch earth policy. That's what they do. What if you go to a psychiatrist? They'll say you are a sociopath or that you're psychotic. Why don't they put these labels on those people who will have their history drenched in blood? I'm asking. I regionalized it. It wasn't me. Right. Think about that. Matter of fact, since we have that up there, let me pull up something real quick. Hold on one second. Y'all give me 1 second with this. Hold on. Boom. Let me see something real quick. See if I can pull it up. All right. Boom. Right here. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm showing you. This is why I know that anybody with common sense, anyone with common sense can do this, because I'm doing it live on the air. You see me just putting in keywords. So again, according to Jimmy Carter and the Jimmy Carter Center, right? This is what they said. This is him after he monitored the Venezuelan elections in 2012 and thereafter. This is what it says. Then this came from Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela, the capital. He says, former U.S. President Jimmy Carter stated, as a matter of fact, of the 92 elections that we've monitored, I would say the election process in Venezuela is the best in the world. Stop right there. You have a U.S. president, his center, that is monitoring Venezuelan elections. And they say Venezuela has the best election process in the world. So if they have that, then that legitimizes who? Maduro and his wins. And he is the president of Venezuela. Regardless to what Trump says, regardless to what Rubio says, regardless to all of them, we have a former sitting president who passed away, but his center still goes, and they monitor democratic elections around the world, and they said that out of all of the elections that they've monitored, who has the best system of democracy in the world? Talk to me. Venezuela, right? Now I'm gonna tell you how you can get what I just did. I'm gonna give you the keywords so that you can put it in there so that you can see I'm not lying. Okay. I put in Jimmy Carter Center said that Venezuela has the freest and fairest elections. Those are the words I put in there. And when I did that, I went down to smartmatic.com, right? Where they quote Jimmy Carter himself. It's the third from the top. Where they quote Jimmy Carter himself. And I clicked on it. And it says, Carter states the election process in Venezuela is the best in the world. So if that is the case, then what does that mean when Trump and Rubio and all of the rest of them call Maduro a thug and illegitimate and a tyrant and a dictator? That delegitimizes their argument and it exposes them to be sociopaths that are openly lying to the people and openly lying to their own constituents and base to further an agenda that is to the detriment of what they said that they're after, and that is make America great again. As a matter of fact, it makes America a pariah state. You understand? I'm just talking to you. I did this right on the air. You're telling me nobody else can do that? No other platform and they could just Google something real quick for you. So if I know this and I can do this, guess what? Everybody else, a lot of them know it too. And why are they not saying this? Huh? Talk back to me. Yeah, that's right. Countries that have real democracy, tyrants, authoritarians. And hold up 1 second. I'm glad you brought that up. And who's to say democracy is the be-all? Huh? Who says democracy is the be-all? So you want one size fits all for a global population, for different cultures, different regions. You can't force your way of thinking and your way of governance on everybody else. That's what Satan tried to do, right? Lucifer said what? That he wanted to be like unto the who? Most High. So he wanted to rule like that. And what did the Most High do according to the Holy Quran and the Bible? He made man in his image and in his likeness, right? And he breathed into them his inspiration, meaning his wisdom, his thoughts, what he wanted. What is America and the West trying to do around the world? They're trying to fashion and mold every nation, every government, every leader in their image and in their likeness. And they're trying to breathe into them what they think is best for them, regardless of America only being a couple of 100 years old. That is the actions of who? Lucifer. Right? What did Lucifer look? He was beautiful. It appeared as though he was an angel of light. Right? He wasn't a vagabond. What is America doing? Democracy and freedom and human rights and this, appearing as if they are doing this for some benign and great reasons, when in reality they're doing it for corporations and for capitalism and for greed and just for bloodlust. Just for bloodlust. Oh, man, I tell you what. Listen. We're running out of time. I want to thank every one of you for joining me. I wanted to get on some more stuff, but I know I got a show coming up in a couple of hours and not too long from here with Carl Zoss. I want all of you back here if you can, because Carl and I are going to chop it up, okay? We're going to really chop it up. I haven't talked to my buddy. I talked to him yesterday, but I hadn't talked to my buddy live on the air in a while. So we're gonna chop it up today. Also, you guys got to support the platforms. Go and sign up on all of the platforms. Even Rumble is taking my subscribers and stuff like that. So I just want to let you know that this is. Matter of fact, let me show you something. Let me tell you something. I already knew YouTube was taking subscribers. So what I did before the show, I went into my YouTube dashboard and I put up a screen to over here. Then so I looked at how they were taking, because all mines always have a positive, and I was looking at how they were taking away because it was negatives up there, my subscribers. So I went about 10 minutes before, about 15 minutes before the show, and I went and put up I didn't remove that screen. I put up another screen and went into the dashboard. They had taken 10 subscribers then. From the time, I'm telling you, man, this is crazy what they're doing. But this is what they do, and I'm with that, and I understand that. This is their platform, and I really understand that. But I just want you to understand that I'm gonna give you everything that I got and then some. As long as I'm alive until the casket drop, I want to thank my mom for instilling into me the values that she's instilled into me. I want to give a shout out to her and my late sister who passed away less than 3 months after my mother. I want to just give a shout out to everybody who supported me. I want to give a shout out to anybody who shows love, anybody who supports me on Patreon, on as channel members, and anybody who just comes around. It doesn't have to be monetary, but anybody who supports the platform, I want to take the time out to let you know that you matter. I see you. I acknowledge you. I appreciate you, because you don't have to give me your time. So I appreciate everything. I appreciate the chat. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you listen. I appreciate the information that you send to me. I appreciate all of that. So on that note, I want you to know that I want you to do right by others. Not because there's some accolades or some great payoff behind it and some pat on the back. I want you to do right by others because it's the right, the humane, and the godly thing to do. Because remember, even when no one else is watching you, God Almighty is watching you. As my late and great, beautiful, and excellent mother would say, God sits high on the throne of power, but he looks low at the actions of man. That is so true. So if you love truth, freedom, justice, and equality, know that I love you, but know that the love that I have for you will always pale in comparison to the love that God has for you. Until we next speak again, which will be in a few hours, stay, and I mean this too, come back please. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true, but above all things, remember to stay righteous. Hey, mama and my sister, listen, look at me shining for you guys. Your baby boy loves you more than life. Thank you all. Peace. We're out of here. Deuces.
Told you to walk away. That was my first and last mistake. I'm blue without your face. But what can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost.